أهلا وسهلا بحضراتكم مرة تانية في برنامج العمران والبيئة. في الحلقة السابقة في اللينك اللي موجود فوق احنا كنا اتكلمنا عن أمثلة عالمية للتكيف الحضري. شفنا نماذج متعددة من المشروعات اللي تمت مستهدفة التكيف بمختلف أبعاده. حلقة النهاردة هنتكلم فيها عن قضايا ملحة مرتبطة بالتغير المناخي في المستوى المدن أو الحضر. هنتكلم عن ما يتعلق بأنظمة التكييف. زي ما قلنا قبل كده إنها من الأنظمة شرهة الاستهلاك للطاقة، الأنظمة التقليدية منها طبعا، والانبعاثات المرتبطة بيها برضو من الناحية التانية، فهي بتساهم في الاحتباس الحراري، وليها أبعاد أخرى برضو مرتبطة بالتكيف أو شروط التكيف في المباني من جوه مع تغيرات الحرارة والرطوبة والظواهر المناخية المختلفة المتوقعة نتيجة التغيرات المناخية. هنتكلم برضو عن التكنولوجيا الحديثة استكمالا للحلقات السابقة، وخاصة مفهوم الديجيتال توين أو التوأم الرقمي، وإزاي هو كأداة ممكن تساعد متخذ القرار أو المصمم أو المهندس بشكل عام على رقابة الأداء والمحاكاة اللي ممكن تساعده في القرارات اللي ممكن يوصل لها، بدل ما يستنى إنه ينفذ المشروعات على الأرض ويبتدي إنه يقيس الأداء بتاعها أو يقيم الأداء بتاعها. باقي كده فيديوهين هنشوفهم. فيديو بيناقش أداة ممكن تساعد المهندسين عامة في إدارة ورقابة وتحسين أداء المدن من ناحية الميتيجيشن والادابتيشن والريزيلينس بتاعها قدام أي متغيرات مناخية مستقبلية. وهي التول دي هي الديجيتال سيميوليشن أو ما يعرف دلوقتي بالديجيتال توين، اللي هو التوأم الرقمي. يعني احنا بنعمل بالظبط نموذج متطابق تماما للمدينة او للكوميونيتي اللي احنا عاوزين ندرس الظروف دي على الكمبيوترات، وبنبتدي بنحاكي الوضع القائم والوضع المستقبلي، السيناريوهات المختلفة بتاعت الكلايمت تشينج المتوقعة، ونبتدي ندرس على الديجيتال سيميوليشن القرارات المهمة اللي احنا لازم ناخدها، والتعديلات اللي لازم تحصل، والامبروفمنتس اللي لازم تبقى موجودة على أرض الواقع عشان نحمي المدينة الحقيقية بقى الأصلية اللي على الأرض اللي مبنية فعليا من المتغيرات بتاعة المناخ دي قدام. الفيديو التاني هنتكلم عن مشكلة من المشاكل المعاصرة اللي بتواجهها المدن في أزمة التغير المناخي، وهي الاعتماد على ال HVAC systems أو أنظمة التكييف والتدفئة الميكانيكية اللي بتستخدم زي ما قلنا في المحاضرات اللي فاتت كميات كبيرة جدا من الطاقة. إزاي إن احنا نقدر نوجد حلول بديلة للاعتماد الكثيف على أنظمة التكييف والتدفئة دي عشان نقلل من الانبعاثات الضارة اللي بتسبب الاحتباس الحراري والمتغيرات المناخية.
The world is getting hotter. Oppressive heat now stretching coast to coast.
Canada, the US, Cyprus, India, Iraq, and Kuwait have seen scorching temperatures in the past week.
But though the dangers of rising temperatures are well documented, less is known about the knock-on effects of keeping cool.
Air conditioning is one of the worst consumers of electricity. It heats up the planet.
At least 7% of greenhouse gas emissions come from cooling. And with temperatures likely to soar, this is only going to get worse.
The more the earth warms, the more people need air conditioners. But the more of those we have, the warmer the world will be.
Cooling saves lives and facilitates education and economic growth in the world's hottest countries. It also brings huge environmental risks. So how can we keep cool without warming the planet?
Yes, quiet is the word for this new 1954 RCA air conditioner.
Air conditioning and refrigeration systems changed the world. They fueled economic expansion, transformed how food and medicines are stored and transported, and helped save thousands of lives. But in doing so, they've become a major contributor to global warming.
Air conditioners are bad for the environment in a couple of ways. Together with electric fans, they already account for around 20% of the total electricity used in buildings.
America is one of the biggest culprits. The electricity it uses for air conditioning is equivalent to the total electricity consumption of the continent of Africa.
The problem with air conditioners guzzling so much electricity is that much of the world's power grids are still fired up by fossil fuels, like coal, and so it contributes to the greenhouse gas problem in a very big way.
What's more, most air conditioners and fridges use man-made gases, such as hydrofluorocarbons or HFCs, as a cooling medium. These gases have a tendency to leak into the atmosphere, where they are thousands of times more potent at trapping heat than carbon dioxide. And demand for air conditioning is still rising.
A big reason is urbanization, as populations around the world come out of poverty and into modest or middle-class lives. One of the first things people want to buy is an air conditioner.
Currently, there are some 2 billion AC units in use around the world, most across just a handful of countries. But in the tropics, over 90% of the 3 billion or so people who live there have yet to buy an AC unit. As temperatures and wages rise, demand for AC is predicted to skyrocket. By 2050, around 2/3 of the world's households could have air conditioning, which means, without policy intervention, emissions are projected to rise by 90% above 2017 levels by the year 2050.
We have to find a better way, a more energy-efficient and climate-friendly way of cooling the Earth's population, or else this is going to be real trouble in the future.
The race is on to solve the cooling conundrum, with innovative new methods being trialled, from technology to make air conditioners more efficient, to completely eradicating the need for HFCs at all. One company developing a radical new method for cooling is the Stanford University spin-out called SkyCool.
So today we're on a roof at a supermarket and we're deploying SkyCool technology with their refrigeration system. So our technology works by using the sky itself as a heat sink. And so whether it's sunny out or not, day or night, the sky is very cold. And what our technology is able to do is use that cold upper atmosphere to cool things on the surface of the Earth with no input electricity. And so by orienting these panels towards the sky, they're able to send out more heat than they take in from our atmosphere.
Sounds, well, pretty cool. But SkyCool, so far, has only been installed in a handful of places, despite having plans for more.
Innovation is fantastic, but as with the latest iPhone, the poorest people in the world are not likely to get the latest kit. They'll be the least able to buy those efficient, innovative models that are now coming out.
Nascent technology like this can't be relied upon alone to provide affordable cooling on a mass scale. More solutions are necessary.
So there's a lot to be said for reducing demand for mechanical cooling in the first place through improved buildings, better urban design, and nature-based approaches.
Designing buildings so they don't need air conditioning may be part of the answer. After all, that's how it was done before AC was invented.
Pre-World War II, buildings were designed to be passively cooled. They had windows that opened. They looked at ventilation, how it moved through the building, and our standards of comfort were a little different.
Between 1946 and 1955, nearly 1.5 million homes were constructed every year in America. This building boom brought about cooling complications.
Post-World War II, we see this explosion in the use of air conditioning in buildings. The race for skyscrapers takes over. Who can be the tallest? Who can be the biggest? It becomes a competition. We can't open the windows at those higher heights, so now these hermetically sealed buildings require even more cooling load.
But today, innovative building design is providing solutions to keep buildings cool without relying on air conditioning. This floating office in Rotterdam, which houses the Global Centre on Adaptation, is a green architect's dream. It's powered off-grid, heated by solar panels, cooled by the river beneath it, and made mostly from wood.
So let's go inside and I'll show you how it works. So here we are actually inside the floating foundation of the floating office. And what we see here is actually all the technology that we use to cool the building. We use the concrete of the barges, and we do that by pumping cooling liquid through pipes that are in the concrete. The ceiling is a cooling ceiling, so through the ceiling actually there's the same pipes that are also going through the concrete. So the water is actually, in these pipes is actually cooled by the concrete. And then it's actually being pumped through the ceilings.
The Global Centre on Adaptation is the largest floating office in the world. But although its exact cost isn't known, it's rumoured to have been expensive to build. And with Rotterdam's average summer temperature only around 18 degrees Celsius, some might argue that keeping a building cool in this climate isn't hard.
Projects like the Global Center on Adaptation are impressive, and they're great that they exist. If only for their standout technology and their beautiful design. But what we need are scalable, deployable solutions that are affordable that we can do everywhere.
In Cairo, Egypt, where temperatures regularly surpass 35 degrees Celsius, the need for scalable and sustainable cooling systems has never been more urgent.
The heat stress that we are facing is a real wake-up call.
Sarah El-Batouti and her company eConsult were recently awarded funding from Ashton, a climate solutions charity, for their innovative cooling designs.
So you can imagine how much material we now have.
She takes inspiration from traditional cooling techniques that have been used by communities for centuries.
If you go to desert communities or communities in rural Cairo, you're astonished by the level of cooling, and they do it by knowing exactly the correct ratios to build how thick the walls are.
Incorporating some of these age-old techniques in the design of new buildings can drastically reduce the need for air conditioning.
In order to avoid heat, you don't go in from desert to door immediately. You walk into an entryway that is very dark and it's cooler than the desert. And then the difference is 3 to 4 degrees before you enter a room inside.
From a building's orientation to the use of local stone that stays cool, drawing on local knowledge could help more communities find sustainable and scalable alternatives to air conditioning. 4,500 miles south in Cape Town, South Africa, cheap adaptations to existing buildings can also reduce the need for AC. In one community, roofs made of corrugated iron heat up like an oven during the summer months, so they painted them white.
The same way that on a hot day you might wear a hat, or on a hot day you might wear white to reflect heat, our buildings can kind of do the same thing. Just by putting a white reflective coating on these roofs, we can reflect most of that heat. And what it does is it'll not only cool the building down, but cool the neighbors around it down as well.
That's because white roofs can reflect sunlight better, meaning the roof itself can stay about 30 degrees Celsius cooler, making the internal temperature 2 to 5 degrees Celsius less than a building with a roof painted another colour, like grey.
Green buildings cannot be high-end because extreme heat doesn't only affect people on the high end, it affects everybody in various different ways. So there needs to be a building that caters to this kind of solution for all income stratas.
While cheap improvements to walls, roofs and windows could reduce the energy needed for cooling, small-scale initiatives don't go far enough. Far-reaching policies and the large-scale ambition to implement them are what's needed to bring about change. Some governments are responding to the challenge.
Ούτε το process
Eleni Miravilli was appointed Europe's first Chief Heat Officer for Athens in 2021. Her job is to come up with sustainable cooling solutions for all of the city.
This summer was an extraordinary summer in the sense that it started with a heat wave in June. We had these wildfires taking place at the same time. So not only was it difficult to breathe, the skies were dark, clouds were gray and red. It felt like a post-apocalyptic scene from a movie.
Like many cities, Athens suffers from the urban heat island effect, due to trees and plants being replaced with asphalt and concrete, which absorb and then release heat into the air. Here, the average annual land surface temperatures of urban areas can get up to 3.8 degrees Celsius hotter than non-urban areas at midday. Eleni is trying to mitigate this by turning some of the city's streets into pedestrianised, tree-lined corridors.
So when this is changed and it becomes a pedestrian green corridor, somebody walking down the street will have a different experience, much more thermal comfort, as we say, because it's actually going to feel up to 2 or 2.5 degrees cooler than the rest of the city.
Eleni's team plans to create 3 green corridors across Athens over the next 2 years, and she plans to make the most of the cooling greenery that's already there.
We've been focusing on supporting the existing green areas that we have, the existing urban forest parks and the hills, supporting the trees and making sure that we have more of them and actually replenish the nature that we already have.
Multiple studies have shown that increasing green areas in cities is crucial to reduce temperatures and the need for air conditioning.
If we can create more efficient ways of cooling, we'll be able to bring down emissions linked to buildings as well as those from air conditioners. The work that Athens is doing in thinking about cooling the city is very powerful and needs to be replicated in other places. The urban heat island effect is a serious phenomenon. It's only going to get worse, and it's most likely to affect disadvantaged communities the most.
A number of cities are making adaptations like Athens. Paris plans to have 50% of the city covered by planted areas by 2030. Medellin in Colombia has already won awards for its green corridors. And Ahmedabad in India has been acknowledged for its heat action plan, the first of its kind in South Asia.
We have to think of solutions that are sustainable and that are resilient. And this means that we have to think of cooling the whole city so that the building is cooler, so that we don't need so much heating and cooling by using fossil fuel dependent appliances. And this is extremely important because if we continue like this, again, we're going to see just higher temperatures and more crazy climate phenomena.
To implement the city-wide and ultimately country-wide solutions needed to cool the planet sustainably will require cooperation on an unprecedented scale.
This is going to require industry, government, finance, and civil society to work together. We both have to deploy the most efficient technologies existing, as well as invent new technologies, so that we have an opportunity for the developing world to leapfrog ahead to a cooler and brighter future.
I'm DJ Vaidiswan, the Economist Global Energy and Climate Innovation Editor. To keep up to date.
The world is getting hotter.
طبعا زي ما شفنا في الفيديو ده النماذج المختلفة في أنحاء العالم اللي بتاخد خطوات علشان تقلل الاعتماد على التكييف في المباني، وزي ما هم ابتدوا التقرير بتاعهم ان التكييف له مشكلة مزدوجة. هو اولا من جواه بيستخدم غازات دفيئة زي الفريون علشان يبقى وسيط للتبريد او للتدفئة، وكمان استهلاكه للطاقة العالي بيكون معتمد على محطات توليد الطاقة التقليدية اللي اتكلمنا عنها في المحاضرات اللي فاتت، اللي ما زالت بتعتمد على حرق الوقود الأحفوري، وبالتالي هي بتزود الانبعاثات من ناحيتين، منها هي بشكل مباشر ومن محطات توليد الطاقة بشكل غير مباشر. فعشان كده العالم كله بيتجه دلوقتي لتقليل الاعتماد على التكييف، لأن لو فضل الاعتماد على التكييف بشكل رئيسي زي الوضع اللي كان قبل كده، هنفضل في حلقة مفرغة ومغلقة ومتكررة ومميتة، لأن احنا كل ما هنزود الانبعاثات بتاعة الجو، كل ما هتزيد الاحتباس الحراري، هيزيد التغير المناخي، هتزيد درجات الحرارة بتاعة الأرض، هيبتدي الناس يزودوا التكييفات بتاعتهم، هتبتدي التكييفات دي تزود الغازات الدفيئة بتاعة الغلاف الجوي، هيزيد الاحتباس الحراري، هيزيد التغير المناخي، وهكذا. هنفضل بقى في دوامة من التسارع الشديد للاحتباس الحراري بتاع الأرض، ومش هنوصل لأي راحة حرارية، حتى لو يعني التكييف بقى في كل مكان وفي كل استخدام احنا بنستخدمه. فده مش حل. الحل ان احنا نقلل الاعتماد عليه. عن طريق ايه؟ عن طريق حاجات كتير تم ذكر امثلة ليها في الفيديو، زي ما شفنا حاجات مكلفة نوعا ما، زي الفكرة بتاعة استخدام الألواح العاكسة، العواكس اللي بتتحط على الأسطح فوق وبيبقى تحت منها في شبكات من المية بتنقل الحرارة بتاعة العواكس دي وبتدفي أو بتبرد بيها المبنى على حسب التوجه اللي مطلوب. شفنا الفكرة التانية بتاعة المبنى العائم على النهر، ازاي بيستخدم العواكس فوق السطح للتدفئة والحرارة بتاعة النهر نفسه تحت للتبريد. شفنا المثال اللي في مصر اللي اتكلمت عنه المهندسة المعمارية سارة البطوطي، من انها بتجرب تكنيكس لبيلدينج ماتيريالز كانت بتستخدم في العمارة التقليدية، المباني القديمة اللي ما بقتش بتستخدم. الطرق دي دلوقتي في الوقت الحالي بقت بترجع لها تاني، بتدرسها وبتحاول انها تنفذها باختيار مواد معينة، باختيار سمكات او خانات للحوايط معينة عشان تحقق العزل الحراري المطلوب بدون الاعتماد بشكل كبير على التكييف. شفنا برضو مثال تاني أقل تكلفة في جنوب أفريقيا، فكرة إن هما بيدهنوا الأسطح من فوق باللون الأبيض عشان يبقى عاكس للحرارة، ما يختزنش الحرارة بتاعة الشمس ويسبب سخونة عالية للمباني، فنحتاج إن احنا نحط تكييفات كتير عشان موضوع التبريد وعشان نوصل للراحة الحرارية بتاعة المستخدمين من جوه. فدي فكرة بسيطة مش مكلفة قوي، ممكن انها تتنفذ في المناطق الحارة. طبعا الحاجات دي بتختلف من كونك في منطقة حر من منطقة برد، لان في المنطقة البرد مش هينفع ندهن الاسطح عندنا باللون الابيض، لان احنا عاوزين اصلا الحرارة تخش جوه المبنى وتدفي الناس بدل ما نستخدم انظمة التكييف عشان التدفئة. فاحنا بندخل الحرارة، احنا عاوزين نخزن حرارة على قد ما نقدر بالنهار. فهتلاقوا ان اغلب المباني بره بتستخدم الالوان الغامقة، بتستخدم الازاز بمسطحات كبيرة عشان يبدأ يستوعب الحرارة بتاعة الشمس ويدخلها تدفي المبنى جوه، بعكس المناطق الحر بقى اللي هم عاوزين يحموا نفسهم اصلا من حرارة الشمس، فبيستخدموا العواكس زي اللون الابيض في الدهانات الخارجية عشان يقلل الحمل الحراري اللي موجود جوه المبنى ويقلل اعتماده على التكييف عشان التبريد اللي هو محتاجه. فدي الافكار المختلفة اللي تم طرحها. وفي برضو الفكرة بقى العامة اللي احنا كلنا عارفينها اللي كانت متطبقة في المثال بتاع أثينا، هي فكرة تشجير الطرق والمحاور الحركة والاهتمام بالحدائق العامة المفتوحة علشان تستوعب الغازات الضارة بتاعة الاحتباس الحراري، وكمان هي تلطف المايكرو كلايمت بتاع المحيط بتاعها بأنها تقلل درجات الحرارة اللي بتنتج عن الاربان هيت ايلاند افكت نتيجة الاسفلت ونتيجة المباني الخرسانية اللي موجودة في المدينة. الفيديو الأخير ده هو بيتكلم عن التول اللي احنا اتكلمنا عنها، الديجيتال سيميوليشن أو المحاكاة الرقمية للمدن، عشان رقابة الأداء بتاعها وتحسين الأداء بتاعها في مواجهة التغيرات المناخية من حيث الأدابتيشن والريزيلينس، وكمان إنها تكون أكتر يعني ميتيجيشن للانبعاثات الضارة اللي بتحدث التغير المناخي.
For thousands of years, our planet has enabled and nurtured our growing civilizations. Throughout the ages, our settlements have existed in balance with the natural world that surrounds us, protecting us from the elements, while enabling our societies to thrive. But now, in the space of just one human lifetime, all that has changed. The extent of our urban development has reached extreme levels, and our buildings now contribute more than 40% of all greenhouse gas emissions. Our actions are causing dramatic and irreversible changes to the planet that we call home. The critical links between ecosystems are being broken. But we have the power to turn this tide. We have the ability to limit the impact of the structures we build and to help them support rather than destroy our planet. The construction industry can make the difference, and with the help of new cutting-edge technology placed into the hands of billions, we can save our planet for future generations. Urban development is one of the main ways that human beings impact the Earth. From the structures that we call home, to our schools, hospitals, workplaces, and the infrastructure that we travel on, our built world now accounts for a significant portion of all greenhouse gas emissions produced worldwide. From initiatives to make entire cities carbon neutral, to innovations in concrete manufacture and even smog-eating buildings, the construction industry is beginning to recognise its role and respond. But much more needs to be done, and at a faster rate. To make a real difference, we must reach beyond the construction sector and enable each and every one of us to better understand how our buildings are impacting the planet. Technology can play a key role here, particularly in the form of the digital twin systems that have supported other sectors for many years. Creating a digital replica of a physical building that actually behaves like the real structure and provides crucial information on real-life performance can enable us to better understand how our buildings are performing and simulate how they may perform in the future under a range of scenarios. Leveraging artificial intelligence and machine learning, these so-called digital twins can improve energy resilience, reduce operating costs, increase resource efficiency, and help to decarbonise our buildings. When applied across a group of structures, or even an entire community, we could start to analyse and improve our energy use at a societal level, reducing our impact on the planet. Digital twin technology for buildings is available and in use on real projects right now. Systems like the Intelligent Communities Lifecycle, or ICL Environmental Digital Twin, developed by IES, combine building simulation and machine learning to provide insights on energy usage, waste heat, renewables, occupant comfort, and even transport connectivity. The ICL can replicate reality by simulating the physics of energy and heat flow throughout a building or a collection of buildings. Any gaps in real-world data can be filled with projections developed by the intelligent digital twin itself. Such systems allow energy and resource use in buildings to be clearly visualised, reaching beyond the barriers of complex engineering and engaging everyday people, from children to those who previously had little awareness of how our buildings can impact the planet and their lives.
The main reason to do this is because, of course, we want to improve buildings. Now, Lord Kelvin used to say, you cannot improve it if you cannot measure it. So that's what the virtual builder digital twin allows you to do. It gives you a prototype, a virtual prototype of the building that first of all allows you to measure it, but also allows you to test, to experiment on it without having to experiment on the real building. It's all about the data. So the digital twin in the end is a collection of data. For different use cases, it can look very realistic, like maybe the trend basin that we're looking at now, kind of my back, but also it can be just about data, about performance. So because the data is available, it means that we can use the data to share. And when we share, we make this information public. So we educate the public, and we hopefully create more engagement. That's what we need to solve the, let's say, climate change and improve the climate.
With ambitions to become the greenest campus in the world by 2020, Nanyang Technological University have deployed IES's ICL technology across their 250-hectare flagship eco-campus in Singapore. Initially, IES created a master planning model of the entire campus site, accurate to 91% for total energy consumption. That model was then used as a baseline for high-level analysis on a number of energy reduction technology trials.
They had this vision. They wanted to improve the performance of their campus. They said, let's first create a very high-level master planning view of our campus and just tackle the low-hanging fruits. So are we using a set point that maybe is too low? So are we keeping the rooms at 17 degrees rather than more manageable 23, 24 degrees? Very simple intervention that already managed, after 1 year of, let's say, resetting of the parameters, they managed to save around 10%, 15% of the energy. This allowed them to analyze it, to test, to experiment the impact of changes, something that cannot really be easily replicated on site without using the digital twin.
In total, the use of ICL technology revealed a potential reduction in energy consumption of 30%, equating to potential savings of over 4.75 million Singapore dollars. IES's digital twin technology is currently in use on residential schemes as well. Trent Basin is a model low-energy community in Nottingham in the UK. Here, IES works with experts at the University of Nottingham to create an interactive platform that allows the community to visualise its energy data in real time.
Trent Basin is an area of the city of Nottingham on the banks of the River Trent, and it used to be an industrial area of the city and is now being redeveloped for low-energy housing, as near zero carbon as they could achieve. So there's lots of energy efficiency technologies and design elements that have gone into the housing.
Residents can interact with the platform online or at a large touchscreen in their community hub, moving around the virtual site, seeing the amount of energy being generated and their energy use.
What the architect was interested about was to create engagement with people that live in the community. So they know they've designed sustainable buildings, so they wanted to allow them to sit in a way, almost to interact with the digital building.
The main thing was to visualize the data and to make the data more accessible and presented in a friendly way, to inform and engage the residents about the energy use and what has been produced, what has been consumed, and what has been stored in the development.
The platform means that residents can interact with and comprehend their energy use like never before, driving behavioural change.
You can really interact with a 3D model, you know. Sometimes for people that is not from architecture background, it's difficult to visualize 2D sketches or 2D drawings, and the 3D interactive platform actually helps a lot.
When you live somewhere where you're generating your own electricity, where you're living in a well-insulated home with lots of energy efficiency features, it starts to make you think more about your own living and your own environment.
It's also highly engaging for children, immersing them in the concepts of responsible energy management from a young age.
The platform was created to be inclusive and self-explanatory, so it allowing children and people with reduced mobility to use the platform and to interact with energy in the way that they never interacted before.
Residents can go and touch the various buildings and see not only what the building looks like, what are the main properties of the specific apartment, of the specific house. They can also go there and see what the current energy consumption is, and what the temperature is.
We generate our energy locally using photovoltaic technology, solar panels. That electricity is generated locally and then it's stored locally in a large battery. At the time it was installed, it was Europe's largest community energy battery. Over the past years since this has been running, we've reduced an awful lot of carbon dioxide emissions associated with conventional generation.
The potential impact of this technology on a planet facing such an urgent climate emergency is considerable. Systems like the ICL can help us to better understand how our built world is performing and provide insight on how to improve it.
It's not just about having the technology running in the background, it's actually take the residents on the journey as well.
If we could integrate this technology into all the buildings within a community and then replicate that across multiple communities around the world, we could make a significant reduction in carbon output at a global level. The widespread adoption of such technology would also drive behavioural change, not just among the current population, but with future generations, enabling them to care for our planet long into the future.
Our biggest challenge as a country is how we decarbonise heat, how we get gas out of buildings and how we generate heat for our built environment. And one of the things that we're looking at here in the Trent Basin is how we can get maximum value out of on-site renewable energy generation, so electrical generation, how we store that locally, and how we can interact and trade between the heat that we can generate and the electricity that we're generating here to optimise an entire system, to optimise the use of renewable energy for provision of both heat and power.
While the climate emergency currently facing our world is extreme, it is the construction sector that can make a key difference in turning the tide. With technology as our key ally in this fight, we can develop a more sustainable built environment, helping our planet to recover and thrive. If you enjoyed this video and would like to get more from the definitive video channel for construction, subscribe to the B1M.
زي ما شفنا في الفيديو كده الدور اللي بيلعبه الديجيتال توين في اولا زي ما هم اتكلموا في حتة نشر الوعي، توعية السكان نفسهم بتوع او اليوزرز الموجودين في المباني نفسها من تأثير المباني والاسبكتس المختلفة المرتبطة بتشغيل المبنى، استخدامه للطاقة، الحرارة اللي موجودة جوه السبيسز بتاعة المبنى، الأداء الوظيفي بتاعه، هل هو متأثر بالتغيرات المناخية ولا لأ، الحاجات دي كلها، وازاي ان هم يقدر بقى بعد مرحلة الأويرنس دي يبقى decision making tool علشان ياخدوا قرارات تصميمية وتخطيطية لتحسين أداء الكوميونيتي ده أو تحسين أداء المدينة أو المبنى أيا كان السكيل بتاع التطبيق الديجيتال توين، علشان يحققوا أكتر الميتيجيشن والأدابتيشن والريزيلينس للمتغيرات بتاعة المناخ باستخدام التكنولوجي وباستخدام السيميوليشن اللي بيوفر لهم الوقت والمجهود والإمكانيات من إن هم يطبقوا التجارب دي على الأرض. لا، هم بيقدروا يجربوا السيناريوز دي المختلفة على الديجيتال سيميوليشن، على الموديل اللي موجود اللي بيحاكي المدينة أو بيحاكي المبنى أو بيحاكي مجموعة المباني والعلاقات اللي ما بينهم على أجهزة الكمبيوتر الأول قبل ما يتم التطبيق على أرض الواقع. فده جزء مهم جدا لأنه بيسهل أكتر زي ما اتكلمنا موضوع المتابعة بتاعت الأداء وتحسين الأداء كقرارات، وحول أكتر ناحية التصميم الأخضر والمستدام والتطوير العمراني المستدام والميتيجيشن والأدابتيشن للكلايمت تشينج في المستقبل. كده تكون نهاية المحاضرة. شكرا لكم. الحلقة دي تعتبر الختام لسلسلة الحلقات اللي احنا ابتديناها ووصلوا ل30 حلقة دلوقتي بحلقة النهاردة، ودي كانت المجموعة الأولى لبرنامج العمران والبيئة، واللي تم تخطيطها وإعدادها على مدى الفترة الزمنية السابقة. ابتدينا أول حلقتين منهم العام الماضي بالتزامن مع مؤتمر المناخ 26 في جلاسكو، واستكملنا بعد كده بقية الحلقات بداية من شهر مايو العام الجاري حتى هذه اللحظة. وصلوا ل30 حلقة كانت بتناقش أو بتتناول القضايا البيئية المختلفة المرتبطة بالعمران والتركيز على التغير المناخي، بما ان احنا زي ما اتكلمنا قبل كده ده اللي العالم كله بيتناقش فيه حاليا في مؤتمر المناخ في شرم الشيخ. وأنا مشارك في المؤتمر ده في بعض الفعاليات. والفيديو يعني الحلقة حضراتكم بتشوفوها دلوقتي في التوقيت ده أنا موجود في شرم الشيخ بعد تسجيل الحلقة ونشرها. أنا متواجد في شرم حضورا في مؤتمر المناخ ومشاركة في بعض الفعاليات والمشروعات المعروضة هناك. دعواتكم بالتوفيق. وبرضو أحب يعني أذكر إن البرنامج ده كان الهدف الأول منه هو نشر الوعي والوصول لأكبر قدر ممكن من المهتمين بقضايا البيئة المرتبطة بالعمران. والحمد لله كانت الثمرة الأولى من الحلقات اللي تم نشرها ديت حصول البرنامج على جائزة المجلس الأعلى للثقافة من وزارة الثقافة من ضمن المسابقة اللي كانت مطروحة لقضايا التغير المناخي والأعمال التوعوية أو المشروعات أو الأعمال الفنية اللي بتعبر عن القضايا المرتبطة بالتغير المناخي على جانب الفنون والعمارة. وإن شاء الله نلتقي في مجموعة حلقات أخرى للبرنامج مع العام الميلادي الجديد إن شاء الله. تحياتي لحضراتكم جميعا وأتمنى للجميع التوفيق. وزي ما قلنا قبل كده في أول حلقة خالص من البرنامج ده إن إحنا عندنا مثلث لازم يكتمل في التعامل مع القضايا البيئية دي: الوعي، وده كان أساس الحلقات بتاعة البرنامج دي، الضمير الجمعي والضمير الفرد في التعامل مع مشاكل البيئة، والدور المنوط بكل واحد مننا سواء صانع قرار أو مواطن عادي أو يعني كل في مجاله له دور مهم جدا في التعامل مع البيئة وفي التعامل مع المتغيرات اللي بتحصل دلوقتي. وثالث حاجة التعاون ما بين كل بقى الأفراد ديت، التعاون ما بين كل المؤسسات، كل المنظومات، كل الأنظمة بتاعت الدول. وده اللي احنا بننشده من مؤتمر المناخ القائم حاليا في شرم الشيخ، ونتمنى له النجاح والوصول للاتفاق اللي العالم كله بيأمله علشان مواجهة المشكلات والتكيف مع المتغيرات في المدى البعيد أو القريب. أشوفكم على خير. تحياتي لحضراتكم جميعا.
فول، 2 بطاطس، 2 طعمية.
ده مش طبيعي.
صباح الخير. صباح الخير يا عم بلال.
وده مش طبيعي.
ايوه البلالين، ايوه غزل البنات يا استاذ.
ده مش طبيعي.
ودي بقى اسمها مانجا.
واو، جبتوا أكلها قبل كده؟
وده مش طبيعي. كل ده ما بقاش بعيد إنه يحصل بسبب تغير المناخ. بس الأول، إيه هو تغير المناخ؟ ببساطة، تغير المناخ هو إن درجة الحرارة بتزيد قوي وتقل قوي من كتر الانبعاثات اللي طلعت نتيجة تصرفنا الغلط على الكوكب، واللي بيغير درجات الحرارة في الفصول المختلفة، وارتفاع منسوب المية. حتى التربة نشفت وأكلات بنحبها بتختفي. بس مصر ابتدت تواجه تغير المناخ بمشروعاتها وإنجازاتها اللي بتحافظ على البيئة، منها محطات الطاقة الشمسية، وسائل النقل اللي بتقلل الانبعاثات، بدأنا ندور المخلفات ومعالجة المية علشان نعيد استخدامها، وطرق تانية كتير. دلوقتي جه دورك ترجع الطبيعة لطبيعتها. مبادرة رئيس الجمهورية لنشر الوعي البيئي، حملة تتحضر للأخضر من وزارة البيئة.